purpose of these videos is not to educate you on the historical aspects or origin of the Karambit knife, nor is it to educate you on the historical aspects of the classical style and use of the Karambit knife. But rather, the purpose of these videos and this course is to educate you on the use and applications of an ancient weapon that now, when coupled with the strategies and tactics of modern hand-to-hand combat, becomes a weapon of devastating effectiveness. Now, any of you who already know me know that I'm not one for tradition or ritual. And I'm not being disrespectful to any of the martial artists that teach classical martial art or practice classical martial art. I just don't have time for that. If it's not something I can learn in the afternoon and take out and use in a fight that evening, then I'm not interested. I started training when I was 16 years old and I've never stopped. Over the past 32 years, I've studied Eastern, Western, ancient, and modern combat styles throughout the world. This has not been a hobby for me. It truly has been a way of life. What I'm bringing to you here in this series is a distillation of effective, learnable, and retainable combat skills that you can add to your repertoire, no matter what your level of training has been, or if you have never trained at all. The fighting skills, tactics, and strategies that you will learn in this series are the same core skills that form the basis of the course that I teach to the world's elite military and counter-terrorist units. Now you will see these principles as they apply to one of the most effective personal defense weapons I've ever used, the combat Karambit knife. One of the features that I really like about this folding Karambit knife is that we've taken the handle and drilled and tapped it on both the right side and the left side. That gives you, the user, the option of either mounting the clip on the right side or the clip on the left side. And that allows you to decide if you're going to carry it in your right pocket or your left pocket, and gives you a couple extra options on how you want to carry the knife. I'm going to show you what those options are right now. And what we've got here today is we've got two knives, one with a clip mounted on the right side and one with a clip mounted on the left side. So I can show you what those options are. Now, I call this a conventional right-hand carry. Knife is inserted into the pocket, pushed back into the side of the pocket so that you can reach down, pull the knife out, have a conventional saber grip. Now, if we take that clip, switch it around and mount it on the opposite side, you have the first option. You can carry the knife forward in the pocket, clipped on the right-hand side, so that you can pull it out, and you can have it in a reverse grip carry. Once again, just by flipping the clip around, allows you to carry it in a reverse grip carry, tucked towards the front of the pocket, pull the knife out, it's ready to use in a reverse grip carry. Now, flip that clip over to the other side again. We can carry the knife in a reverse grip configuration on the left side so that I can tuck it towards the front of the pocket, pull it out, it's ready to use in a reverse grip. Left hand side, tucked forward, pull the knife out, reverse grip. Flip the clip around one more time to the other side. You can carry the knife on your left hand side in a conventional carry mode so that you can pull the knife out. It's ready to use in a saber grip. Tuck to the back of the pocket, pull it out, ready to use in a saber grip. Just giving you the option to mount that clip on either side of the handle gives you those 4 variations on how you can carry the knife in your pocket. And it allows you to have the ability to customize the way that you want to carry that knife for your own personal preference. One of the other features about this folding Karambit knife is that it has an ambidextrous opening hole in the blade that allows you to access the opening hole with your thumb and open it up just like that. As you can see right here, there's a nice big old hole right in the blade so that you can use it from your right hand, open it up with your thumb. You can use it with your left hand and open it up with your thumb. So it's an ambidextrous opening feature that allows you, whether you're right-handed or left-handed, to fully use and deploy this knife with ease. One thing that I am very proud of with this knife is the fact that it has a very, very ergonomic handle design. And we've been known at Emerson Knives for being able to do a lot of good work with ergonomics on a lot of the knives that we've made. On this knife, we've done a really good job with it. And I'll tell you why. This knife, when you hold it in your hand, it's got finger grooves. It can be used in a saber grip, which I have it in right now, and it feels very, very comfortable, very secure. But at the same time, you can hold it in a reverse grip, and you get the same feel, the same strength, and the same security. And it took us a long time to develop this handle so that it felt good both in the reverse grip and in the saber grip, because we could get it so that it felt good in one grip, but it was a little uncomfortable in the other. Now what we did was we did a lot of engineering on it, a lot of ergonomic study, and we developed a knife that can be used in either grip position, and it is equally secure and feels equally comfortable. What is a karambit? What is a karambit knife? Well, the knife comes from Indonesia, in the islands of the Indonesian archipelago, the main islands of which are Borneo, Java, and Sumatra, along with probably several hundred other islands of that island chain. The name itself means claw or tiger claw, and if you look closely at the knife, you'll see that it mimics a curve just like a tiger claw does. Now, the tiger is a pretty efficient hunter and killer, and is the top predator in the food chain, and it's allowed him to survive for millions and millions of years. So that claw does a pretty dang good job. At the same time, this knife does a pretty dang good job also, and it's probably one of the only knives that I know of that mimics something from nature and actually does it in a correct manner that makes it perform effectively. The karambit knife is promoted by the Indonesian martial arts. Probably the most important or well-known one is pencak silat. And the knife came somewhere to the United States along with the immigration of Indonesians that came and visited or came to stay in the United States and brought their martial arts with them, along with some of the tools and weapons that they used in the martial arts. And the knife itself can be traced back historically to about the 1300s when it was used on the islands for a variety of purposes, some for self-defense, some for actually use as a tool. What are the advantages of a karambit knife? Well, historically, karambit knives have always been fixed blade knives, and the key to their effectiveness was their efficiency and their concealability. What makes the karambit knife an efficient blade? What makes the style and the use of the knife efficient in combat? Let's look at what are the characteristics that make the karambit knife so efficient. I'm going to list the following characteristics. Number one, being a fixed blade historically, the knife was always ready to use the minute it came out of the sheath. So the minute you reached into the pocket or into the sheath, pulled that knife out, it was ready to use. No fumbling around with it. Okay? Number two, having a hole in the handle. What makes that so efficient? What does that lend to the design of the karambit knife? Well, first, having a hole in the handle allows you to insert your finger through the handle. Now, because my finger is inserted through this handle, it's an extremely secure grip. It's very hard for anything to dislodge this knife from my hand. Further, if I were to be knocked off my feet and had to land on the ground, broke my fall with my hands, having my finger through that hole allows me to splay my hand, hit the ground, retrieve the knife into my hand without ever losing control of it. And that works in the saber grip and in the reverse grip. So that if I hit the ground, boom, I splay and hit, I can still bring my hand right back up, knife still in my hand. Okay? Number three, the hole in the handle permits a whirling or circular manipulation of the knife, allowing you multiple grips and multiple strikes in a continuous motion. By having your hand through this hole, you can use it like that. Number four, the compact size of the knife makes it extremely lightweight and allows you to strike with the knife virtually as fast as you can move your hand in a completely natural manner using basic boxing strikes. Use of a karambit, even a slapping motion, is a very, very effective means of self-defense. Concealability. What do I mean by concealability? I don't mean how you carry the knife or how you can hide it in your pocket or underneath the jacket or in your back of your waistband or something like that. That's not what I mean by concealability. One of the things that makes this knife so efficient, and what I mean by concealability, is the fact that it is lightweight, small, fast, and hard to track with the human eye. So that when I'm up against an opponent, I don't have a big old Bowie knife out here, I don't have a big stick, I don't have a big cumbersome weapon that's easy to track because I can't move it fast. I have a knife in my hand that's so quick, it's like a piece of lightning with a sharp point on the end of it. And when I strike with it, it's very, very hard for that opponent to track. There's no way on earth that he's going to be able to see all those strikes coming at him. That's what I mean by concealability. The folding karambit. Why do I think this knife is so efficient? Why do I think it's time that a folding karambit is here to replace a fixed blade karambit? Well, I really don't, because I don't think you can ever replace a fixed blade because they're so simple and they're so strong. But the point is this. A folding knife you can carry in your pocket walking around in the mall. A fixed blade knife sticking in a sheath, hanging down from the side of your belt, that's just not socially acceptable. The only place I've ever seen people carrying around knives in sheaths is actually in combat or out hunting. And those are the places basically where you're allowed to carry a knife like that and no one's going to give you a hard time. But I challenge you to walk into a mall with a big hunting knife hanging down the side of your pants. You're going to get stopped by a security guard. On the other hand, 75–80% of all the people that are in that mall, they probably have a folding knife of some type in their pocket or in their purse or somewhere on their person. It's socially acceptable to carry a folding knife. It's not socially acceptable to carry a fixed blade. That's why now the folding karambit has come of age. With the addition of this wave feature on that knife, it allows you to access this knife in your pocket, and as you pull it out, it is open. And what I mean by that is now that knife is as quick to get into a ready position as a fixed blade knife, because the motions are the same. You reach to get a knife out of the sheath, pull it out, it's ready to go. With the wave feature on this knife, which opens that knife automatically as it's withdrawn, you reach down, you pull the knife out, it's ready to go. It's not a knife that you have to reach down into your pocket, pull out, fumble around, try to get open, because by that time you're in a world of hurt, because in a real life attack, time is not on your side. So the next best thing to a fixed blade knife is a folding knife with a wave on it. And this folding karambit is one of the finest fighting knives that I've ever used in my life, and I'll stand by it. That's what this series is all about. Right now we're going to talk about how to hold the karambit knife. And because of the different design features of this knife, it gives you quite a few different options that you might not get with a normal type of folding knife. So we're going to go through all of them right now just so that you get a familiarity with them. Right now I'm not at a point where I'm talking about training, so I'm not going to be telling you to hold it in this manner or hold it in that manner. I'm just going to go through the iterations of the various ways that you can hold onto the karambit knife. Okay, I'm going to explain a little bit about each one. Now, the standard grip that I call the saber grip is with the knife facing away from you, and it's held just like that in your hand. That's called a saber grip. Thumb rests on this thumb ramp above the blade. Hands are not inserted through the hole, but they fit around the grip portion of the knife. It's a very, very strong grip. Now we're going to talk about the reverse grip. Knife is held, the blade down towards the ground, edges away from you. Fingers are wrapped around the handle, thumb goes on top, over the hole. It's called a reverse grip. Very strong grip. Probably those two grips are the ones that I recommend the most. Okay? Now we're going to talk about saber grip with your finger through the hole. Saber grip, pinky finger goes through the hole, fingers wrap around the blade, very, very secure. Same as the other saber grip, only this time you've got your finger through the hole. Reverse grip, pointer finger through the hole. Same as the reverse grip before, pointer finger goes through the hole, fingers wrap around the handle, clench your fist just like you're going to punch somebody. Very, very secure grip. Tough for this knife to ever be dislodged from your hand. Now, in this grip, because you have your finger through the hole and you're able to manipulate the blade and spin it, there's another grip option called the extended grip, where the knife is flipped forward, it's held out like this, and what happens is the blade comes down, hits the second finger of your hand, which acts as a stop. Thumb pinches over the top of the hole portion, and the blade is held in an extended fashion like this, which allows you to cut. It's not the strongest grip, but it is an option, okay? So you can hold the knife like this. Now, two grips that I don't recommend, but since we have to talk about the realities of combat, and that's what this is about, we're always based on reality, Murphy can step in and he can say, look, you don't have the option of picking out how to hold that knife in your hand. It's just going to be how you happen to pick it up when you grabbed it, because you're in a fight or you're being attacked, things are going haywire, you don't have the ability to pick and choose, okay? Theoretically, you could have the knife in a saber grip with the point of the blade facing up. All right? Not a grip I would recommend, but when you practice with your knives, I would practice using that grip style also, because if it ever happens, you don't want it to be something totally foreign to you that catches you off guard, where you're going, uh-oh, I don't know what to do. I don't have the knife in my proper quote-unquote grip. Okay? Another possibility is a reverse grip with the blade edge facing towards you. Again, not a grip that I recommend, but is it a possibility that could happen? Absolutely. I've seen things like this happen. In the reality of an actual hand-to-hand combat situation or a fight to the life or death, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. That applies to fighting with these knives, applies to hand-to-hand combat, applies to warfare, firefights, everything. Principles are the same here. You could theoretically end up with this blade in your hand like that. So I would recommend that you would spend some time practicing holding onto the knife like that also. Now I'm going to move on to a couple of grips that are strictly safety grips. They're not meant for combat, but a lot of times you're going to run into a situation where you're not necessarily going to use this knife in combat. You might have run up on a car accident where somebody's in the car stuck with their seat belts. Your partner may have gone down from an injury. Somebody may be tangled in shroud lines. You've got to cut them loose. Somebody may be injured and trapped in their web gear. You've got to cut them loose. Well, the thing about this knife, the thing about any knife, is it's a very, very sharp tool that can do damage to the person that you're trying to protect. So what we did is we developed a couple safety grips so that you can use this knife in a safe fashion also. Now, first safety grip is this. I would grab the knife and put my finger over the top or spine of the blade. Okay? Now what that does is that protects that tip portion of the blade from being able to contact your partner or anyone else, so that when you're up here trying to cut them loose and you're reaching around their neck area, or you're snaking up underneath the sleeve to cut down and get their clothing removed, or you're cutting up the pants leg to get someone who's been injured in the leg free, or you're cutting somebody out of web gear or a seat belt, you can put your finger over this sharp, sharp, sharp little point, and you can safely snake the dang thing around underneath with your finger. I can run the thing all over my face, no problems. I'm not going to get cut because I've got my finger protecting that point, okay? And if I cut my finger a little bit, that's okay. I'm really worried about cutting my friend or the person I'm trying to rescue. Now, as you know, in an emergency situation, a lot of the same principles apply as combat. Things can go wrong. Somebody's thrashing about. Somebody's in a lot of pain. Somebody's screaming. There's fire. There's water. Someone might be entangled in a shroud line. You might be in the water and you're trying to get them free. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong and a lot of thrashing about. You want to protect the end of that blade because you don't want to hurt anybody any more than they have been. Okay, now, last safety grip we call a pencil grip. Again, if you're going to use the knife and you got to do some really, really fine, delicate work, let's say remove a sliver grab the knife, pinch it up by the blade, let the rest of the handle portion fall into the meat of your hand like that. You've got it pinched between your fingers just like you're using a pencil. You can take that little point and you can get in here and you can remove a sliver. You can do some delicate work. You could use it to scrape corrosion off something, a detonating cap or something like that, to give you a good contact for electrical. But it gives you a real nice amount of control in here, which is a lot different than me trying to get a sliver out doing something like that. So I grip it all the way up to the point, and I can work that little tip real easy. Now this knife is razor sharp, and yet I'm able to at ease push it against my hand and all that, because I got a lot of finite control on it, not injure myself. So those are the grips that you can use with this knife. We talked about some of the opening methods for how to open up the Karambit knife earlier. Briefly, I just showed you a couple things about the hole and the wave. And now we're going to take those things step by step. We're going to go through each opening method one by one so that you can see all of the iterations and you will know how to be able to open this knife. And again, I recommend that you practice opening these knives in a variety of fashions. Number one, what it does is it builds dexterity in your fingers, and it also builds a familiarity with the knife in your hand. And a lot of times when you're in my class, we talk about a lot of that. Some of the things that we do don't seem completely necessary to a fighting relationship, but I always talk about, I remember when I played football, the coach, the running backs, the receivers, and the quarterback, we had to carry a football around with us all the time, 24 hours basically. Did that make us a better football player? No. But what they were trying to do is they were trying to get you familiar with the carrying of that ball so that it became very natural, and if you're fumbling it around, your odds of keeping hold of it might just be a little bit better than if you'd never played with the ball in that manner before. So again, a lot of these things are drills for the sake of drills, but they all lead up to better skills at the end. So don't breeze over these things. I want you to practice them. I want you to get familiar with them, and I want you to be able to do them well. Okay, we're going to talk about these opening methods. Now, standard opening method that most people are aware of is the thumb opening method. Boom. And you can practice that until you get real quick with it. Becomes almost second nature. Okay? You can use it in your left hand. Same thing. Boom. These knives with the ambidextrous opening feature, boom, knife's open. So practice opening that knife up, because right now when I open it up, I don't have a good, strong, secure grip on it. Okay? If I have my pinky through it or something, I already have a little bit better secure grip on it. But the point is, in order to open it, I can't have my hand wrapped around the handle. So I have to make a slight grip transition in the middle of opening the knife. Now, if I'm in the middle of an attack scenario where somebody's trying to do me bodily harm, I don't want to, at any point during that attack, drop my knife or fumble it or lose precious seconds in getting it open and ready to use, okay? So that's important, why you should practice these things. When I open it up with my thumb, my fingers have to be out of the way to allow that blade to open up. But I immediately have to transition into a good, strong grip on it. That's what we're trying to practice here. I don't really care about opening the blade as much as getting the grip secure after the blade is open. That's the point of these drills, okay? Standard opening with the thumb. Right hand, left hand. And by God, you better practice with your left hand too, because you may be in a situation where you had to pick that knife up with your left hand. And if you're a right-hander, don't always train with your right hand. Switch over and train with your left. Could be the one thing that saves your life in a life or death situation. Okay, now we're going to get into a couple of the other opening methods. It may seem a little bit odd at first, but they may be a situation where you're going to have to use it. Okay? So just bear with me. We'll go through them step by step. Now, one of the opening variations that I use and that I practice is there are times when you would have the knife in your hand, you pulled it out, you might not have had it open, you might not have wanted to have it open because you might have wanted to have it in your hand in case you needed to use it, but you didn't want to go to the full-blown offensive-looking nature of having an open knife in your hand because maybe you're reading out a situation and you don't know how it's going to come down. Is this guy going to attack me, or is he just going to ask me for spare change? So I don't want to have a knife out there ready to go when the guy's just saying, look, buddy, I just wanted to borrow a quarter. I don't ever assume anything's going to be innocent. I always assume something's going to happen, prepare for it, And then if something doesn't happen, I can modulate the way that I'm going to react to it. Okay, now we're going to get into a couple of the other opening methods. It may seem a little bit odd at first, but they may be a situation where you're going to have to use it. You got the knife in your hand. You don't have it in a secure grip yet. You just have got it out of your pocket. You picked it off the table. You picked it up off the console of your car, however it may be. One of the ways to open it is you pinch the section of the blade where the hole is, between your thumb and your forefinger, flip the handle up, let it drop down into a reverse grip so it's ready to use. Pinch the blade, flip the handle up, let the blade come down into a reverse grip in your hand. Once again, flip the handle up, let the blade come down into a reverse grip in your hand. Another opening method, almost the same as the other one, only this time the knife handle is pointing in the opposite direction. Pinch grip on the blade, flip the handle down, grab it into a saber grip. Once more, hole is toward the ceiling, pinch grip on the blade, handle's flipped down, brings it down into a saber grip. Another variation on the opening method that you can use, when the knife goes into a reverse grip, you have it in your hand, hole is toward the ceiling. You can use your pinky to open it up, like that. Okay? Is it real efficient? Not really, but it's a way of opening the knife, and if you have to open it like that, you should learn how to do it, okay? Because if the situation ever comes up, you certainly want to be able to open the knife. One more time. I call it the pinky opening. Pinky goes into that opening hole, blades pinched between the fingers, pinky's in the opening hole, down it goes, reverse grip. Another variation on the opening method for a karambit knife, I have it in basically a conventional grip. I've pulled it out of my pocket, it isn't open yet. I pinch the knife at the opening hole between my finger and my thumb. I flip the handle up, flip the handle down, drop it into a saber grip. One more time. I've taken it out of my pocket, boom, pull it up, got it in my hand. Same way as I open it up with my thumb, only this time I'm not going to do it like that. Pinch the hole between my finger and my thumb. Flip the handle up, flip the handle down, go into a saber grip. Okay? Now we're going to try that same type of opening style, only this time the knife's going to be in a reverse grip position. The hole in the handle is towards the ceiling. I pinch the knife at the opening hole between my thumb and forefinger. I flip the knife down so the handle is towards the floor. I flip the handle back up to the top, drop it down into a reverse grip. I pull the knife out. It's in a reverse grip position. Hole is toward the ceiling. Pinch on the hole. Flip the handle down. Flip the handle up. Let it drop down into a reverse grip. We'll do that one more time. One more way to open this knife up is to take advantage of that wave feature that it's on the top of the blade. In that way, you can open it the same way as you do the standard method by using your thumb in the hole. You can now move your finger up to the top of the blade, catch that wave, and open the knife just like that. Using the wave the same way as the thumb opening hole. You can do it with either hand.